Democracy and freedom of expression is about tolerating the views that you don't like from someone you might not like. This is the burning issue on the happy world of 5FM radio, bringing you hot, smoldering topics on a weekly basis. Your participation is important.
Good morning and welcome to yet another edition of the burning issue here on the happy world of 5FM radio on 89.9 in Lusaka. And we are also broadcasting in the surrounding areas of this great city. Don't forget, we are also live on our partner radio stations, and these are iWave FM radio in Chingola, covering the rest of the Copper Belt. And we are also live on Tuta FM in Mansa. We are live on Muchinga Radio on 88.1. And remember, Tuta FM in Mansa is on 90.7 FM. So Muchinga Radio is in Chinsali, covering the rest of Muchinga province. We are also live in the central province, Kabwe to be precise. That's where Spice FM is on 91.1. And we are also live in southern province, Mazabuku, Wave FM radio on 98.7. Remember, we are also live on our Facebook page, that's 5FM Radio, or on our YouTube channel, 5FM. We are also live on many other online platforms. I will name just a few. Smart Eagles is carrying this live. Grindstone TV, Zambia Reports, Zambian Voice, Patriotic Front page. All these and more are carrying this particular episode of the burning issue live on those platforms, and we are grateful for that. I'm your host, Zakaria Banda. My guest today is an interesting guest, new to our airwaves. He is a Lusaka lawyer and a member of the Patriotic Front, Celestine Mukandila. Welcome to the program, and it's a pleasure to host you today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Banda. Are you okay with me calling you Zach?
Zach is the best.
Okay, thanks. So thank you very much, Zach, and thanks for having me here.
Great. We are delighted to host you. We know that we are hosting you for the first time, and our listeners obviously will be hearing you for the first time. But that said, I would then ask that you just introduce yourself. Give us a bit about your background.
Well, basically, my name is Celestine Mukandila. I'm a household name in the Patriotic Front, although was on a quieter side.
Born here in Lusaka?
Yes, I'm a Lusaka resident. In fact, I'm a Matero resident. I'm a product of Matero.
Yeah, the city within a city.
Within a city, yes.
Yeah.
So, so I've been in the party for some time, in the Patriotic Front, that is. Way back as a student union leader, then when we were in opposition, up to the time we got power in 2011. Further to that, I've occupied different portfolios in the party. I was in the Electoral Commission, which is the electoral committee of the party, under Chairman Pankata. I've been in the Information Committee of the party, then under the then Chairman Mr. Frank Walia, and I've done a lot of other works within the Patriotic Front Party itself. Yeah, so basically, I'm like you indicated, I'm a lawyer by profession, and I'm a good governance activist. Yeah.
Thank you very much, because then also we will discuss more about your political career going forward. But are you able to tell us when was the first time you thought politics is your thing? I know, other than from school, as a student union leader, but I mean in terms of actual politics of this country.
Well, of course, in 2016, I made an attempt at the constituency, which is Matero, as area member of parliament. Unfortunately, I did not make it. It was given to Honorable Mulenga Kazia. And from there, I've been around. 2021, I tried to also go for a position within the constituency. Unfortunately, it did not go as planned. But further to that, Matero is our home, and of course, we should be able to get back and make another attempt at the constituency. Yeah, ours is to provide leadership and quality leadership. We've been around, we've gotten a lot of experience on the ground, and of course, we understand the needs of our people, our neighbors in Matero. So clearly, a household name now in Matero. So we've been moving.
Never got frustrated by the fact that you couldn't be adopted?
Well, I believe Thomas Edison indicated that failure is never supposed to frustrate you. Failure only teaches you on how not to fail. So the failures that we've undergone in the process of attempting to get the constituency as a member of parliament has only taught us ways in which not to fail to get the constituency this time around. Yeah.
Now, the registrar, let's get into the politics, because then now, as a good governance expert, we would like to hear your views. I mean, the Registrar of Societies has just issued a 60-day ultimatum on all political parties to hold their conventions. What's your thought on this matter?
Well, you see, there is a challenge that we are faced with today in our country. And the biggest challenge is that our democratic space is shrinking by the day. I will tell you that the Registrar of Societies and the society itself, the commission itself, does not have any power to dictate the internal organization of any clubs or society that has been registered under them. What they can do, and the extent to which the power of the Registrar of Societies is limited to, is only to the extent of registration, ensuring that there is adherence on the registration process, as well as ensure that returns are made. So monitoring is supposed to be done.
Yeah.
So compliance is the key issue there. So in terms of regulating the internal functions of the political party or a society or a club, that is a preserve of that particular club, because in the process of registration of that society, the thing that is done is you are supposed to submit your constitutions. So these constitutions are the ones that regulate the internal organizations of any particular society or club. So it is very, very saddening to see the Registrar of Society issuing such an instruction that goes against the tenets of democracy, such an instruction that goes against the tenets of good governance, an instruction which is in fact potentially contemptuous, because currently the Patriotic Front is in court. The Secretary General of the Patriotic Front is in court defending the issue, the issue that was recently filed by Comrade Mao Sampa. Amongst the requests, the orders that Mr. Sampa is requesting for is, for example, that the Patriotic Front should go for a convention. Now, this is a clear indication that the executive arm of the government today is usurping the power of the court, because you cannot decide to issue such an instruction when you in fact know that there is a matter that is in court. Now, the issue is, and that is the reason why it is very sad. We are very saddened because I do not think the Attorney General of the Republic of Zambia today would even allow a matter that is sub judice to result into a directive from a commission or the ministry itself. It was very sad that yesterday we saw the Minister of Information, in their usual rhetorics, the Minister of Information decided to even support a particular notice that was made by the Registrar of Society, which goes against all tenets of democracy. It goes against all tenets of the rule of law. That particular instruction, that particular notice goes against all tenets of good governance in this country. And like I indicated, I don't think any reasonable Attorney General would allow government to put itself especially the executive arm, to put itself in a scenario that will be seen as though they are usurping the power of the courts. Because purely and clearly, that particular notice is prejudicial to the procedures and the processes that are underway currently in court. And it is potentially contemptuous. It is potentially contemptuous.
Yeah.
And we believe at this stage that we have reached as a country, I always keep indicating that we really need to pray hard, because the space at which our democratic space is shrinking has really grown to the heights that we cannot contain anymore. Because there is no way we can have a society or the registrar of society who's given directives under a gazette from the minister, and they decided to start attacking internal organizations of political parties or internal functions of clubs. Notwithstanding the fact that the core issue when registering any society comes in as a constitution of that particular club. The reason is simple. The constitution of a particular club guides the operations of that club. If you intend, if the law intended that these clubs should be managed by the registrar of society in terms of the internal affairs, the law would have been created or passed in that same vein. So you can see how our democratic space is actually reducing, where we've got an executive arm or the Minister of Home Affairs issuing a gazette, which gazette purports to create a law. That is the executive arm. And that law also purports to be very prejudicial to court processes. Now, this is the executive arm trying to usurp the power of the court. This is the executive arm trying to usurp the power of parliament. I mean, in Zambia, if these people wanted to amend the law to allow the registrar of societies to have the power to control the internal organization when meetings are supposed to be held in clubs or societies, if it was intended for that, the government would have gone to parliament and parliament would have come up with a law. Unfortunately, we are seeing serious abrogations of the constitution, and the constitutionalism that we're supposed to, principles of constitutionalism are being abrogated day in, day out. This should never be the case. And I feel every well-meaning civil society organization, every well-meaning protector or defender of the Constitution should speak to these issues. We should speak to these issues because the rule of law is under attack, our democracy is under attack, and we should never allow such to happen in our country.
So do you feel that by this ultimatum, the Patriotic Front ultimately is being targeted? I ask that because political scientists such as Alex Ngonga has basically said that this is an attempt to single out the Patriotic Front. You feel so? You agree?
We agree. We issued a statement yesterday through our spokesperson,
right,
indicating that we know there are plans to try and deregister the PF. We know there are plans to try and deregister opposition political parties offering relevant checks and balances in this country. We know there are plans to reduce the democratic space in the country. But the Zambian people are watching. The Zambian people are watching, and we do not feel the direction we are moving towards is one that is acceptable by the Zambian people. Zambia remains a unitary democratic state as enshrined in the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. Many of us who stand up and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia, and we should not allow this kind of leadership to continue. And the reason is simple. We need to safeguard our country. The leaders we have today swear to protect and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. Unfortunately, we are seeing a complete and total abrogation of provisions of the Constitution day in, day out. These actions that our colleagues are taking today warrant actually impeachments. However, in other jurisdictions where leaders have got a moral compass that dictate that integrity entails that you do the right thing, even where no one is seeing. Those jurisdictions by now, their leaders would have resigned, because clearly we are seeing a leadership in Zambia today where the leaders lack integrity, the leaders lack honesty, and it is against the tenets of our constitutional provisions, if anything. So morally speaking, we've got a shrinking levels of morality in the country as against the provisions of Part 3, Article 8 of the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia today, Act number 2. It is sad. It is sad that we are going through this.
Now, the fact that you've said principles of the Constitution are being abrogated, are you in a position to cite particular ones?
You see, our Constitution has provided under Article 8 and Article 9 principles that have to guide the nation. For example, we've got principles to do with patriotism. We've got principles to do with the rule of law. We've got principles to do with the protection of the Constitution. Now, under patriotism, we have continued creating a scenario where the problems of this country will be written down on a piece of paper and then shipped or enveloped to the West or America for them to give us solutions, and will be seated at post offices waiting for their responses. That is not patriotic. That is not patriotic. Local solutions are there. They are available. Why should we have, for example, institutions that are foreign to our land advising government on issues to do with governance? I'm told we've got a desk there under the Tony Blair Foundation, is it, at State House, advising the government on issues to do with governance. Which good governance? The problems of Africa remain the problems of Africa. The problems of Zambia remain the problems of Zambia. We can sort out our own problems with locally braided solutions. We do not need the
Now, if you say you are told there's such a desk, it simply means that you don't have facts to that, no?
Actually, we can be able to provide the facts to the extent that recently we saw, is it Madam Chipo Manawasa being appointed as a member of that same board? And it's possible. I mean, as a matter of fact, if you're going to have 2 portfolios in State House, it means you are still drawing salaries from those particular portfolios that you occupy. So the facts are there, as a matter of fact. And that is why I'm saying the level of patriotism that we are experiencing today in this country with the current leadership leaves much to be desired, as against the provisions of the Constitution.
Let's go to the other principle on Constitution.
The rule of law. The rule of law. Constitutionalism, for example. Constitutionalism. Today, commissions, for example, commissions that are stated or created in the Constitution. Article 216B has provided for the independence of all commissions that are a creation of this Constitution that we have, which is Act number 2 of 2016. The independence. Do we have that independence today, where we are seeing the Electoral Commission of Zambia having another body or committee created that they are calling an advisory committee to come and advise the Electoral Commission on how to conduct themselves? But what law are they using? Those are constitutional abrogations we are talking about. The Electoral Commission of Zambia should remain as an independent body without the control of any other body. Can we start respecting the Constitution? Can we start respecting that? We've got currently a provision of the Constitution that provides for the Auditor General. An Auditor General who is supposed to be, or to occupy the office of Auditor General, should not be more than 60 years. Or perhaps they should actually resign and retire at the age of 60. As a matter of fact, now we have a leadership which has blatantly ignored the provisions of the Constitution. They've gone ahead to employ or appoint a person who's at the age of 63. That is illegal, very unconstitutional. There are many more constitutional principles that have been abrogated by this government. And yet we have sat down and kept quiet about this. No, it's no longer the time for us to sit quiet, to sit down and quiet. We shall talk about these issues. They affect the welfare of the Zambian people. We are protected by the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. We've got a right to freedoms of speech, freedoms of association, freedoms of assembly, and all rights that are provided for under Part 3 of the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. We've got a duty as Zambian citizens to defend this constitution that we have. We are not going to allow this to continue happening.
Do you have plans as Patriotic Front? I know you may not be the spokesperson of the party, but because this appointment of the Auditor General now is it's subject to ratification by Parliament, but maybe numbers may favor the decision to go ahead. How do you intend to make sure that this does not go ahead?
Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. And by virtue whereof, I believe you saw at a press briefing where opposition members of parliament as well as independents made keen applications and submissions to indicate that that particular appointment was an illegality. Now, it will be immoral, and I repeat, it will be immoral for members of parliament belonging to the ruling to pass an approval of an appointment or a ratification of an appointment which goes against the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. And it goes against the tenets of every moral aspect of this country as a whole. We cannot insult the Zambian people in that manner. We cannot continue slapping insults on the face of Zambians in the manner of using the arrogance of numbers in parliament to pass laws and pass appointments to appease the egos of the rulers or the people that wield the powers of the executive. No, we shan't allow that. And at this stage that we have reached, we should not allow our democratic space to continue shrinking in that manner, where the executive will do as they will or as they please, just because they've got the arrogance of numbers in parliament. I do not think that would be good for any Zambian, well-meaning Zambian, a Zambian who respects the people that voted for them to be in that parliament. Because we should be guided by the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. We should be keen. In fact, all those members of parliament that are in parliament today, they swear to protect and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. Act number 2 of 2016, as read together with the 1996 Constitution, which provides for the Bill of Rights. So these people are supposed to protect and defend this Constitution. And I will only urge my fellow countrymen and women that in an event where this particular provision or this particular appointment is ratified, I think we will have known exactly the kind of leadership we have. Clearly, the democratic space has shrunk to the levels we cannot comprehend. Clearly, we are heading towards, I mean, these are signs of dictatorship. And I only hope and pray the Zambian people are seeing what is happening. The Zambian people, and now it is no longer about the Patriotic Front and the UPND. Now it has reached a level where the Zambian people will have to stand up and voice out. We need to voice out. We need to voice out against the abrogations of this constitution that we are seeing.
Do you, at this point, question the moral standing and integrity of the advisory to the president, constitution-wise? Because if the president is aware that appointing anybody older than 60 years as Auditor General is unconstitutional, but he goes ahead, do you question the advisory?
My brother, in 2011, the then President Michael Sata appointed cabinet and over-nominated by one nominated member of parliament.
Yes.
We experienced the shortest serving minister in the history of the country in the name of William Sand. The Attorney General then, and is on record as he was then, State Counsel Musa Mwenye, went to President Michael Sata and told him, say, Mr. President, this is an illegal appointment. We need to withdraw this immediately. Following his moral duty, following his legal duty, he went to the president and said, Mr. President, this is illegal. We need to withdraw this. Immediately it was withdrawn. Why is that? Because we had people who understood their positions then as attorney generals and went to advise government. And we had a president who was a listening president. He listened to his attorney general. Now, why should we have an issue today where we've got an advisor to government, who's the attorney general, we've got an advisor to the president, who's a legal advisor, and we've got the entire presidency. We've got cabinet office, secretary to the cabinet. These are people that are supposed to be slighting notes to the president to say, Mr. President, there's this provision. Attorney General, secretary to the cabinet by today, who should have slid a note to the Attorney General to say, Attorney General, we need your opinion on this. We've got this issue. Our president has made this appointment. Now, the question is, are they scared of approaching the president? Have they run out of the moral fiber to approach their appointing authority and tell them to say the position of the law is this? Those are questions that the Zambian people should be asking. And it's extremely, at this stage, if that appointment is not withdrawn by now, we should have known to say it's either the president does not want to just follow advice from the legal brains at State House or the legal brains at Cabinet Office, or it is just it is just jungle, oh my brother. It's beyond, it is beyond reproach. The Constitution is being abrogated day in, day out. And I think it is time that we shouldn't just sit and watch. I'm hoping our members of parliament, as well as those that mean well for this country, should be able to do something about it.
Other than those, are Zambians eligible to petition that appointment?
Well, I mean, Zambians are represented in parliament.
Yeah.
So you can go to a member of parliament and tell them to say, Bwana, there are these abrogations. Kindly ensure that we have an impeachment motion on the floor of the House. I mean, president is sworn in to protect and defend the Constitution of the Republic. Why not? Why not? We cannot have, for example, a commission such as an Electoral Commission of Zambia, created under Article 229 of the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia, Act number 2, having a supervisory committee created, which is unconstitutional. Which law have they used? I mean, the independence of commissions has to be respected. Article 216B of the Constitution has provided for the independence of commissions. Maybe let me just read it so that the Zambian people should know that we are speaking with facts. Article 216B, in fact, Article 216 says a commission shall, B says, be independent and not subject to the control of a person or an authority in the performance of its functions. What advice is that particular committee going to advise the Electoral Commission of Zambia? That is a clear show that the executive wants to gag every movement of the happenings of government or the running of these institutions. There is no independence in the Electoral Commission of Zambia. The Zambian people should begin to get worried that these are schemes for vote rigging. These are schemes for vote rigging. You cannot have an independent commission such as the Electoral Commission of Zambia being gagged in that manner. No, that's undemocratic. Bwana, we need to withdraw such tendencies. Zambia is a democratic country. And besides, you see why we even keep on saying our democratic space is shrinking. Our colleagues were on record speaking about the rule of law day in, day out. But today, we have seen a scenario where government or the executive arm of government is pushing so hard with different maneuvers to deregister political parties as against democratic principles. In 1991, Zambia decided to come up with a provision that Zambia is a multi-party democracy. Political parties were given the right to be registered and maintained as such. We've got a constitution that guarantees that position. We're a multi-party democracy. And I don't think this should be the right time for us to start rolling back our sleeves and watching individuals that the Zambian people elected into office defile the sanctity of the Constitution, the strength of the Constitution. My children tomorrow will grow looking down on me if I do not speak against these evil deeds. Your children will grow tomorrow looking down on you to say, my father let me down because he did not talk about the injustices, the breach in the rule of law, the deterioration in our democratic space, and yet he had the voice and the protection of the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. Today, if we allow this kind of leadership to continue, where the constitution abrogation is the order of the day, then it means we do not deserve to even call Kaunda as the father of the nation, because they did their part. They fought for the independence of this country. Why should we today move in line as though we are protecting neo-colonialists? That would be wrong of us. Our moral compass should actually be talking to us. It should be talking to us. We've got laws that we need to follow. We've seen a government today that is keen on abrogating any provisions of the law. Tenders, fertilizer tenders, they are busy awarding them single sourcing as against the provisions of the law. We've got institutions that are supposed to be independent, such as the Anti-Corruption Commission. We've got commissions that are supposed to be independent, such as the Drug Enforcement Commission. Today, being directed on who to persuade or to pursue on matters of abuse of authority. But the law is there. Our colleagues are abusing authority day in, day out. Michael Sata, in his reign, or should I say the Patriotic Front, decided to reintroduce the abuse of authority clause in 2012. And the reason is because we knew to say, when we have so much power that is uncontrolled, we may end up behaving in a manner that we are seeing today.
Let me at this point first quickly remind our listeners that this is the Thursday edition of the Burning Issue, and our guest is Celestine Mukandila, who is a Lusaka Lawyer and Patriotic Front member. We are live here on 5FM Radio on 89.9 in Lusaka and the surrounding areas. Let me also say that we are live on our partner radio stations, and these are Tuta FM on 90.7 in Mansa, live also on iWave FM Radio in Chingola, covering the rest of the Copper Belt, Muchinga Radio on 88.1 in Chinsali, covering the rest of Muchinga Province. We are also live on Spice FM Radio 91.1 in Kabwe, covering Central Province, and Southern Province is well covered on 98.7, and that's on Wave FM Radio. We are also live on Smart Eagles, Grindstone TV, Zambia Reports, Zambian Voice, Patriotic Front page as well. Now, I'm taking you to another issue, and I need your legal brains on this. This is the issue to do with the conversation that is going on among the members of the UPND, who are actually currently serving nolle prosequi on various cases, really. But let's get an understanding of these conversations vis-a-vis while on nolle prosequi.
You see, Mr. Banda, and that is why we've continued to indicate that The current government, in its current form, is keen on abrogating the law day in, day out. The provisions of the Criminal Procedure Code on nole indicate that a nole is not an acquittal. A nole is a mere discharge. And the law has provided that you can be rearrested at any time. At any time. Now, where you are just discharged, the question is, what would warrant you to sue government for compensation? And we are guided by many precedents.
So meaning at that point, your case is not closed.
The case is not closed because tomorrow government will wake up and just say, mumange ni futu you. Matter kuduko evidence yanyu. Now, the truth of the matter is, statistically speaking, today as we are talking, 84.3% of politicians are seated on knowledge. Now, are we telling the Zambian people that Chirufya Tayali, who is today seated on a nole, can go to court, apply for compensation? Are we telling the Zambian people to say, Mama Mumbipiri can go to court and seek for compensation against government? Are we telling the Zambian people today to say, Honorable Waliamuamba, GBM, should go to court and seek for compensation on the many knowledge that he has? Are we telling the Zambian people to say that all these politicians that we are seeing, Kangombe in Sesheke, can go to court and seek for compensation because he's seated on a knowledge? Are we saying, Honorable, you see, these are the things we are talking about. Constitutional abrogations, daylight robbery, day in, day out. We cannot allow the Zambian coffers to continue in this way. We cannot allow the Zambian coffers to continue being pilferaged in this way. This is daylight robbery. This is theft of the highest order, using institutions of government. We are using institutions of government to steal from the Zambian people. 5 million, by now we would have used the same money to purchase medicines in hospitals. 5 million we would have put up a subsidy on fuel. Fuel would have started going down. Our colleagues.
So who is wrong in this case? Would you say the justice system wasn't? Is not doing the right thing on these matters?
On these matters, my take is we've got the government in power that is keen on abusing their authority. We've got a government in power that is keen on stealing Zambian people's monies using institutions of government. We've got individuals in government.
Because I want you to give me a procedure of applying for compensation. How is that done? I want to see whether...
My brother, the basis upon which these compensations should be made, and they are being made, should actually be that you've been maliciously prosecuted. Now, a malicious prosecution that comes in would entail that the person in authority decided to drive prosecution, knowing very well to say they had no evidence, it was against your rights and all. They drive prosecution and you end up being acquitted. So an acquittal should always be the basis of that compensation claim. You cannot. How do you start claiming for compensation when the matter is, it's as good as today we've got a colleague in court for being accused of having property suspected of being proceeds of crime. Immediately you go to court again and sue the government for compensation to say, no, court, I'm being inconvenienced. Come on, let's respect the law. Let us respect the provisions of the law. Let us respect the principles of constitutionalism, such as separation of powers. Let's respect the fact that the constitutional court remains a court independent of any other court. Let's respect the fact that the judiciary should operate independent of the executive direction. Can we respect the fact that Parliament is the only institution wielded with the power to enact laws? Can we respect the fact that the executive who have their part to their role to play in the governance of this nation? For example, you see, we've seen a scenario where the executive arm of government today has shown so much desperation to gag the principles of constitutionalism in this country. So much desperation, or in the name of trying to bar one individual, in the name of President Lungu. You come up with principles and procedures that go against the tenets of democracy, that go against the tenets of just even morality in the country, or in the name of trying to look at this individual who is equally a Zambian with rights and with the protection of the constitution also. That is totally unfair. The Zambian people elected this government to reduce on the cost of living. They are on record informing the Zambian people to say the reason why Milimu, for example, is this expensive is because government has failed to look at issues to do with inputs and all. But today, we are seeing the opposite. Our colleagues have sold everything in our reserves, to the extent that we foresee a scenario where by January, February, we may have a serious hunger crisis in the country. Already our colleagues in Shangombo and many other areas in the rurals are complaining of hunger. Hunger has become a crisis. Of course, they will not declare it as such. But we are watching, because today, if I can buy minimum at 380 on the copper belt, just in Chingola there, if I can buy minimum in Mushindano, in Shangombo at 402, then there is a problem. Our colleagues are on record indicating that we are going to reduce the cost of minimum to 50 kwacha. Our colleagues are on record that we are going to reduce the price of fuel from 17 kwacha to 10 kwacha to 12 kwacha. Today we are seeing the opposite. The lies that were told to the Zambian people are no longer working. Zambians are not gullible. We are watching as Zambians. They told the Zambian people to say they are middlemen in the process of fuel procurement, and that is the reason why fuel was at 17 kwacha. Today, are they telling the Zambian people that they've now introduced 3-4 more middlemen? That is the reason why fuel has gone to 35, to 30 or 29.98. Come on, the Zambian people are tired of mere rhetorics. We've been receiving speeches from speech to speech. Can they now tomorrow call for a press briefing? In fact, we are challenging them. Let them call for a press briefing and show us the same graphs on how the cost of living is now. Let them show us how the cost of commodities have skyrocketed from the time of, because they keep on referring to Manawasa time, from the time of Manawasa. In 2 years, minimum was moved from 120 to 340, 380 in some areas. In 2 years. We can even gladly brag as PF that minimum only moved from 56 to 120 in 10 years. But in 2 years, more than 300%. Where are we going as a nation? And that is a staple food. Fuel. Where are we going as a nation? And you see, the indicators of any good economy will tell you that the drivers of an economy will start from transport. If you're going to have expensive fuel, there's going to be a trickle-down effect on the cost of each and every commodity, because in Zambia, the biggest mode of transport we use is the road network, meaning we have to buy fuel. Now we have seen they have failed to come up with a solution on how to reduce the cost of fuel. What are they telling the Zambian people? They are telling the Zambian people to say, no, now we are encouraging government as a government policy that we should start buying electric vehicles. Bwana, yes, we appreciate the electric vehicles. It's an innovation, Bwana, but let us also reduce the cost of fuel. You had the plans. My grandfather the other day was telling me that, your calculator, and I agree with him. I agree with my grandfather. That calculator is lost, the one they were using to show us those graphs. those formulas on the board, balemba na kulemba. But today we are seeing the opposite. The cost of living skyrocketing. They are on record indicating to say, no, there will be rule of law, rule of law. You are arrested today, bond is given to you. We've seen people even reaching the extent of being kidnapped. The police are being abused day in, day out. And we know the reason why we've reached such levels is because the government we have today does not respect a civil servant. They do not respect a civil servant, a person who understands processes and procedures in government. They have decided not to respect them. The technocrats who understand these things, they did not consult them. You can't just sit in cabinet with 80% of the people that are seated there with you who have never occupied government position, any government position whatsoever, including the president, first time in cabinet or first time in government. And you want to start making cabinet policies that are very detrimental to the economy of the country, cabinet policies that are very detrimental to the balance, the fiscal balance of the country. No, colleagues, let's be serious.
Well, this government, because you spoke about the fuel prices going up, this government, through the president, obviously seemed to be getting right to the solution, because he recently appointed PS Peter Mumba. We know that he is experienced. He's been in that position before. From the statement that the president gave on that swearing-in ceremony, you can tell that he has actually, directed this PS to look into this price issue. So there's hope.
You see, my brother, when you realize that you had no idea on how to do something, and then you realize that, okay, I think I should have had people who are respected and people who understand the civil service to be appointed and give us the guidance. There comes a point in life when you have to admit to say I was wrong. The president is on record indicating that the issue of revisions of fuel prices every month is affecting all of us. That is choking us. It's choking our economy. He's on record. Now, the question to the Zambian people, the people of Zambia should be asking him is that, but Bwana, you said you had the solution to reducing fuel prices. Why are you then firing the PS that was there and introducing another person who may have an idea of how fuel is procured or how to manage the fuel prices? It is simple. They entered government on the basis of lies, deceit, and today they have realized to say, okay, what we thought is not the case. It's different. Now we need to correct the narrative. Do you know what that means? A morally upright person will go out and apologize. It is only mature for you to apologize when you realize to say, I was wrong and the correct position is this. We are challenging the UPND government today to come to the Zambian people and apologize to them for having deceived them, that they had the solutions and yet they did not know how government runs. We have a president on record indicating that is saddened and he gets frustrated every time people talk about the procedures and processes and not thinking about the results. Bwana, in government, there are processes and procedures. There is no shortcut in the governance of this country. You follow the processes and procedures. That is the reason why it is not possible to steal literally money from government. Now they have realized that it's actually not possible to steal money. Have they been continued talking about the theft by PF ministers? Because they've realized to say a minister doesn't sign on any monetary instrument. The only minister that signs on any monetary instrument is the Minister of Finance. The rest of them don't. They follow cabinet instructions. Go to sit with their PSs and tell them, PS, this is this and this. Let's actualize. This is government policy. This is the time when they are realizing to say the people who run ministries are permanent secretaries and not ministers. It's been a learning roller coaster for this government. They are learners in government. So they've been experimenting on a number of issues, experiment after experiment. And now you see the Zambian people are not keen on following these experiments. They realize to say they like to them. So it's only right that, you see, morality entails that you go and do the right thing when you realize to say the wrong thing has been done. It's okay. Let them come to the Zambian people and apologize. Let them apologize to say they misled us into voting for them.
But they are saying all things being equal, it should have been easy to run government. But because they found a very messed up government, that's what they say. That's the justification. So it's not about it's not as we thought. Yes, they can say it's not as we thought, because then they are saying it's not as we thought that we would find a sane government. But it's not, because the previous regime messed it all up. That's what they justify the challenges.
Have you ever heard any of these colleagues telling you the exact issues that they say they found messed up? My brother, the truth of the matter is you cannot fix what is not broken. We had fuel that was at 17 kwacha. You try to fix it. Today, instead of fixing the fuel scenario, you are fixing Zambians. And I can assure you, the God that Zambians worship is not a lesser God. Very soon and very soon, we shall attain this economic emancipation that we've always wanted. You cannot let people experiment on the lives of Zambians. The health system has crashed. The agricultural system has crashed. All because someone thought they had the solution and yet they were experimenting with the Zambian lives. Let them come and apologize. It's clear. Let them tell the Zambian people to say, no, there is this that was there. It was broken in this manner. They keep talking about a debt mountain. They've talked about it, yes. Do we refuse that every government in the world, governance entails that every government in the world cannot operate without a pinch of borrowing? Borrowing is something, that is the reason why even the law provides for that aspect, where you create a rate at which government can borrow every year through the appropriation bill that is passed. Now, PF borrowed. But are we not able to see what we did as PF with the money that we borrowed? The so-called sausage airport was constructed with borrowed money. Do we accept it was borrowed money? Yes, it was. 650 health posts were constructed with borrowed money. Do we accept those? Yes, it was borrowed money. 450 kilometers of road plus constructed using borrowed money. Now, we've constructed and renovated this country. I will actually call it renovated. We've renovated this country using the same borrowed money. Today, if you get a stone, throw it anywhere, that stone will fall on the development that was left by the PF. Through borrowed money, yes, we will accept it through borrowed money. 9 billion, is it 9 billion or less that we borrowed? But the question is, today the UPND in government, in 2 years, Mr. Banda, they have borrowed over $6.2 billion. In 2 years, Zambian people should start asking, where has that money gone? Today they will come and lie to the Zambian people to say, no, the Ndola Lusaka road was contracted at an expensive price and all that stuff. But today I will tell you, no one should ever lie to the Zambian people to say these consortiums that they are entering into come at a free of charge basis. They are telling you to say they will spend 650. That is a lie. Let them tell us how much money will continue paying to those consortiums over the year, the period of 23 years. Because a toll gate, the statistic today, when you ask NRFM, they will tell you to say a toll gate, such as Shimabala, does not make less than 1.3 million kwacha every month. Let's start tabulating those figures. How much money are we going to pay to these consortiums over the period of 23 years. And they want to lie to the Zambian people to say the cost is only 650. No. Bwana, let's tell the Zambian people the truth. This is a smart way of them stealing from the Zambian people. Literally so. And we shall not allow that to continue. We shall not allow that to continue. So the lies they've been telling the Zambian people, we have reached the epic. We are now going to be telling them the truth. We shall not sit idle and not speak out, because the Zambian people believe that we can speak out for them.
Why wouldn't you want to let them save the mandated period of them being in government? I mean, they still have time to make things right. It's only 2 years that we're making reference to. They have 5-year mandate. They still have about 3 years to go. We're judging them too early.
My brother, in the first year of the PF, the kind of transformation we saw was visible. In the first year of the MMD, the kind of transformation we saw in 1991 was visible. And let's be realistic. In the first year of UNIP, the kind of transformation that this country saw was visible. Let us not massage people's egos. They told us they had solutions. Where are the solutions? Today, they're even busy bragging to say, no, the kind of damage that was done over 10 years of PF cannot be fixed in a day.
Precisely.
Bwana, tell us the damage that was there. Today, you are trying to fix what is not broken. Fuel prices was 17. It is 30 kwacha, 29.98. Don't try and fix what is not broken. Today, the fixer of the economy is fixing the Zambian people. And I can assure you, the fixer will be fixed in 2026, as a matter of fact. Because the Zambian people, it is no longer about PF. It is no longer about PF. This is a moral fight for the Zambian people. Our colleagues do not have an ounce of moral fiber to come and apologize to the Zambian people that they lied to them in order for them to obtain political power. And they did not have an idea on how government operates or runs. This is when they have learned or they are learning how government operates. And by virtue, it's only right. Let them apologize to the Zambian people. Why can't they apologize? Because clearly they have seen that the mistakes they made, the wrongs, they are now trying to correct them. You bring in another PS energy. I hope that PS is going to start respecting civil servants who in turn give him the actual advice that was supposed to be given, or that was drained by the politicians that were there.
Celestine Mukandila is my guest, Lusaka Lawyer and Patriotic Front member on the burning issue this morning. And thank you very much for tuning in. Let's now see if we can accommodate the listeners, obviously those following us on our various Facebook platforms, Smart Egos, Grindstone TV, Zambia Reports, Zambian Voice, Patriotic Front page, also on our 5FM radio Zambia Facebook page, also on our YouTube channel, 5FM Zambia. We are grateful that you've found time to tune in and be with us, and we'll be taking your calls. And remember that you are calling us on 0955 221515. That's the number that you are getting us on if you'd like to come through. And also for your messages, please send us your messages to the number 0761 912493. For your WhatsApp and SMSs, please, you are sending them to 0761 912493. For your phone calls, it's 0955 221515. Let me take this call. You can have your headsets on now and pick up these calls. Good morning and welcome to the program. Hello, good morning. Well, we don't seem to have somebody speaking to us there. Let's take another call. Good morning. Welcome to the burning issue.
Exactly.
Good morning and welcome to the program.
I will tell you, I've done well that I was starting speaking call.
Your name?
Because when you give this Dr. Proud.
Dr. Proud.
Yeah, when you give this politician time, they are also going to take our time. the recording system will be small.
Please go ahead.
We want to know question one on Mukandila. Who is the lawyer? Where were you? Where you are people? They were getting us. There is a no.
How are you, Dr. Proud?
I'm okay, but we don't teach people about what you think is failing. You yourself, you have even failed to go to convention. You are crying over the of society. We want to know who's your leader. Who is your SG? You have removed the Nixon to put it on the Bonakatinda. We want to know in the regions of society. We want to know if any opposition can beat people to question their leaders. Today you have heard one of the Bonakatinda has been rejected. Only the 5 member of parliament has endorsed it. So you are putting a person who doesn't have a constituency, who always have a silver plate to serve as DCG. We want a person who, in convention elected by people, you remember Honorable Nakatinda, he was energy minister on the silver plate. Already appointed. Our presentation is you went through vote. 2.8 million elected, including one of the Pomway, including the Mulambe, I Lusaka Lawyer including Kinkwe, or the Chakapusa, your member, or Anthony, or Kantay has been elected. Now, why is this the Ruvinda? They are and they are saying to go to convention. We want to know who is your leader. What the press conference is.
Unfortunately, we seem to be. Thank you, Dr. Proud. Thank you, Dr. Proud. Thank you very much. Your line was also getting bad, unfortunately, at that point. But we'll take more calls on 0955 221515. Just one correction on Dr. Proud that Mr. Nakachinda was never energy minister, but water and development, I think, if my memory serves me right. But anyway, let's move on and get another one. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today? Your name and where you calling us from?
How are you?
Your name and where you calling us from?
My name is Diamond. I'm calling you from Lusaka.
Diamond. Please
Yes.
go ahead, sir.
Waroya Mribwanyi.
Bwino Banjo wa Diamond.
Tulipo hino, but not to mislead you wantu. Kumbukani bwino mu 2021. Tanzania chiwoyenze pa 26 kwata perita. Imwe munakangwa kukulunda chiwo because of my election ya May 29. Imwe wapia kusende muli government right now, sende fiwa ili pa 51. But in mwa number one kunkale pakora kukulira, kukamba kamba gambiri, even dollar ya mene mukamba dollar. Then mupia for this time dollar tikamba pa 40 kwata because Tanzania now dollar ili pa 27 kwata per dollar. But you guys, keep quiet. Let us government, you PNG government, to work for you and to work for your children. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your call, Mr. Diamond. Let me take one more and then you can respond. Then we'll shift to messages and see what we have in our message box. Good morning. Your name and where you calling us from?
This is Comrade Mkosa. I'm calling from
Did you say Mkosa?
Mkosa, yes.
Mkosa, please go ahead. And you're calling from Lusaka, you said?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Lusaka.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, Comrade Mkosa, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. My name is just a reminder. Yes, just a reminder that really TFO to be vocal the way you are now. I think you are freeing the Zambian people. You are thinking that people don't think and people do not remember what they went through. So you think because the minimum is at 300, people of Zambia can resort to vote you back. You are lying to yourself. The truth of the matter is that TF is a dead lion. The only thing that is terrorizing people is the smell that is coming a carcass that is of the great lion. You want to come back to start stealing from the poor marketeers? You want to come back to start killing innocent citizens like you did to Sama? You want to come back to start stealing from poor bus drivers? You want us to start again in fearing our own children? That's because you are about to start calling them commandos. When you talk about fuel, are you not aware that fuel are world over at the international market is very expensive compared to what you used to buy at $42 a barrel? Now we are buying at $100 a barrel. Really, Mr. Mukanda, let me remind you. I think give us chance.
Thank
Let us heal.
Thank you very much.
We went through and we went through a lot under you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkosa. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade.
Great. Thank you very much. Let's see if you would like to react to that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your cause, and we really appreciate the feedback. Dr. Proud, I hope kugaden kulitabe mushe uko. Of course, Dr. Proud will always bring in his own issues, but we respect his opinion as a matter of fact. However, Dr. Proud and myself will buy the same midi meal. We buy the same midi meal and at the same price. I don't know if UPND callers or cadres have got a different pricing of midi meal. However, the Zambian people are feeling the pinch. So if our colleagues, the politicians, will continue indicating that no, everything is okay, then they are literally insulting the Zambian people. Diamond from Lusaka spoke about fuel in Tanzania and the reason why fuel may not have been increased. Well, the truth of the matter is, let's be realistic. We've given you a synopsis of what the UPND was promising. The UPND government promised the Zambian people that they've got the solution to reducing the fuel prices. Had they had the solution to increase, they should have told the Zambian people to say, no, these guys are lying to us. The real cost of fuel is actually 27 as it is in Tanzania. What then did they tell the Zambian people? They told the Zambian people that the real cost of fuel should be 12 kwacha because there's a middleman. So now, having related to the facts on the table, Mr. Diamond, it is very important that you realize that Zambians are no longer gullible. The UPND came, we've got clips, it's on record. They said there is a middleman, that's the reason why fuel is expensive. Today, they've put fuel at 29.98. Are they telling the Zambian people that waikapoma middleman batatu? Does it mean wamba kuti bela? Because when we come back to PF and the Kuba, wamba kuti bela, let's tell the Zambian people the truth. Mr. Kosa, of course, you've made a statement to say we apparently, you try to reminisce on the past, and I will reassure the Zambian people that as a patriotic front, we've so far gone around the country, conducted a proper postmortem as to the reason why we lost the elections in 2021. And apart from that, the Patriotic Front leadership is on record, and they've gone around the country, and we have continued going around the country apologizing to the Zambian people for our mishaps, because we are not shy to apologize, unlike our colleagues. We are not shy to apologize. We've got the moral fiber to apologize to the Zambian people, unlike our colleagues who do not want to apologize. We've apologized to the Zambian people and realized to say, from the things that we've jotted down in our postmortem, what we ought to do now is to have a proper rebranding process. And the rebranding process for the Patriotic Front is what has commenced. The rebranding process is a continuous process. Even the kind of leadership the Patriotic Front has started giving to the Zambian people is one that shows you to say, indeed and truly, a rebranded face is coming to the Zambian people. We've gone back to the drawing board. Today, as we are talking, we have a new Secretary General in the name of Raphael Nakajinda. showing to the Zambian people to say we've got fearless men who can talk for them, fearless men who can run the party that was once run by an iron fist, by the strong man Michael Sata. Today we've got an information chairperson in the name of Emmanuel Mwamba, who's capable of relaying information to the Zambian people as it is, facts, and reminding the Zambian people to say a lie that has been told today should never be tolerated tomorrow. Of course, this is a rebranding process that we are seeing, and that is the reason why you even have colleagues like myself indicating or showing to the Zambian people to say we are a rebranded party, and we have continued to rebrand in an event where the Zambian people who want to compare the kind of leadership that has been in the country before, that is that of Edgar Lungu during PF, and the kind of leadership that is there today, that is President Hakainde Hichilema. I mean, the Zambian people should be able to tell that as an alternative to a good quality leadership, it should of course rely on the patriotic front. We've continued offering ourselves to the Zambian people as a genuine alternative. We never lied to the Zambian people in order to maintain power or to remain in power, but our colleagues lied to the Zambian people in order to obtain the wheels of power. And of course, we remain a rebranded party. We have continued with rebranding, and we've continued apologizing to the Zambian people for our mishaps. I think it is very crucial to realize that the leadership of this country in its current form and state has left much to be desired, because I mean, they are showing at some point in our rebranding, I mean, in our postmortem, there are items we pointed out, such as the arrogance of power, that were there on the list. And what we are seeing our colleagues exhibiting is exactly that. So in short, we've got colleagues that never learn from experience, and we believe in life you learn from experience. But we've got colleagues that have never learned from experience. So they are trying to reinvent the rules of governance. And fortunately, it's a gradual process. It doesn't happen immediately.
Let me give you some more messages. Let's go to our Facebook page. I've got Joseph Nyondo, who says, good morning, Zach. I'm following the program attentively. The lawyer there is articulating issues quite good, pointing out anomalies. Indeed, we have the right to defend our constitution. And also, I'm loving how everyone is free to speak without any harassment. Please, Your Excellency, HH, look into some of the issues the lawyer has pointed out. Mulenga Chisanga K says, it is true, abrogation of the constitution of our country has been the order of the day. It's a pity that the presidency has decided to ignore, let me see, where is that again? Yeah, has decided to ignore what he swore for. All right. Moshed Israel says, Mr. Zach, who is supposed to protect the Constitution when the president abrogates it? Okay. And Albright Mutwale on Facebook also says, good morning, Zach. The lawyer is speaking very well. May he continue speaking for the voiceless. Let me quickly look at my SMSs and my inbox here. I've got one here says, good morning, Mr. Zach and the guest. I'm Sam from Chainda. Well, indeed, the guest is very okay in most of the things that he is talking about. Mr. Zach, today it is surprising that the UPND are the ones that are abrogating the same laws that they vehemently opposed when they were in opposition. Mr. Guest, what is only needed is to remove these people from the government. Should we continue massaging them, then it will be us Zambians to blame. UPND today is the reckless creature that we should not entertain and fold our hands. Good day. So that's from Sam of Chainda. I will also be giving you some more messages. There's one here which says, "Good morning, Zach and the guest. For real, being in opposition is painful. Mr. Guest, please allow the party in power to work and continue fulfilling their promises. Why do you want them to work according to your bad plans and methods? You have uphill now, you have up until now failed to hold a convention and are busy having insights, or rather, I think he meant infights in your chipani. All right. You are well traveled people, and yet you built those msheremukos that you, the ones you call bridges to decongest roads. Really, please have some shame and don't misuse your freedom. Correct people in a good way without any malice, counsel." Would you like to react to these messages?
Mr. Nyondo applauded and appreciated the fact that we are speaking facts, and we appreciate that, Mr. Nyondo. We shall continue speaking facts and telling the Zambian people the truth as to how we are moving in this country, and we shall, you see, like we indicated in the process of rebranding, we have told ourselves and the Zambian people that we shall provide the relevant checks and balances to the tune on ensuring that what we are bringing to the table is quality and quality information, data. So we appreciate that. And of course, he mentioned also that you should be glad that you're speaking without any disturbances. Now, Mr. Nyondo, I'll actually remind you that in this country today, we've got directors in the Ministry of Information who have reached the extent of storming radio stations and programs. Here, as we are seated at 5FM, we had a director who stormed the program uninvited, and that's the kind of lawlessness we are faced with in this country, where the same director who stormed that radio station was awarded. He was awarded with a full permanent secretary position. Now, we've got individuals, and that is why I'm saying, you see, the level at which the rule of law has really broken down in this country leaves much to be desired. It is too much. The democratic space is reducing every day. The fourth estate should be respected. Today, I'm here on the invitation of the radio station. Now, if that director thought they had the mass or perhaps the intelligentsia to be invited, they should have waited for their time. Now, we are telling them now to say, in fact, if you want to come and disrupt our programs, go ahead. We are ready to come and debate with you. We are ready to come and talk to you in a manner that will exchange ideas. And that is the kind of rebranding that we're showing to the Zambian people, that as PF, we are ready to speak with people, exchange ideas, and guide as and how Zambia is supposed to be run. We are ready to remind our colleagues that they need to start respecting the civil service and the civil servants. And of course, our other colleague indicated that the only thing we need to do as Zambians is to remove this government. I cannot agree with you more than what you have said on this one, because you see, a government that will have forgotten the reason why it is in power is one that should never be entertained. And of course, like they say, absolute power corrupts absolutely. This is a true definition of that particular phrase. Absolute powers corrupts morals, and it corrupts absolutely. Our colleagues have become too corrupt right now, to the extent that they've become too arrogant. They don't want to follow the law. They don't want to follow legal procedures, and they are just in their own world. So I don't know the kind of exorcism that will be required to revert to normalcy of the running of government. I think we need more prayers. In fact, we've got prayers coming up on the 18th. I encourage Zambians to pray for this country. Zambians should pray for the leadership of this country. What we need now is the leadership that is repentant, a leadership that is able to apologize to the Zambian people for having lied to them. I pray that I hope Zambians are going to pray that the lies told by this government in the run to 2021 should never be repeated.
Let me take some more calls on 0955-221515. That's the number you're calling us on. For those that would like to send us messages, please feel free to send them to 0761-912493. The number you're calling us on is 0955-221515. Good morning.
Yes, sir. Morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Your name, sir, and where are you calling us from?
You are talking to Lukulu Voice on the line.
Lukulu Voice.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. How is the guest?
Very well, thank you. Lukulu Voice, how are you, sir?
I'm very fine. First and foremost, we're talking about the government which has been in power for 2 years now. All right?
Yes.
In 2 years. And it's going to make it to 5 years. That's 2026. Have you ever seen, even your government, remember you were in power, in 2 years, have you done what the UN have done? So let me get the checklist. First and foremost, when the UN came into power, they employed 30,000 teachers. They employed 11,000 plus health workers, lessening that burden which you left yourself. It was a lot of unemployment in this country. Okay? Then they introduced free education from grade 1 up to grade 12. Where do you think the money was coming from? And you people, the same UPF, you are the one who had, no, they can't do it. There's no money for that. But which magic do you think President Hakainde Hichilema did to have that money and today we have free education? A free education, not that one which you used to know. A free education whereby not even a examination fee that you pay, not even a PTA. Eh? What's a hard working government? Then you are saying they have failed. How do you read failing? Do you understand failing? So you can only tell them that they have failed when they have done their term. You have to take it easy. Well, this kind of points that you're being really is giving us a lot of thinking. Are you for good? Do you want development? Or you are enemy of development in this country? So even the PF catalyst that you're taking to the parliament, that's unexpected. You are bringing that catalyst to the parliament. You are disparaging the presiding officers. You are making the works of parliament so difficult. You want to bring chaos to this country. There's a rule of law today. It never is happened. You don't appreciate that. You can have millions of quarters, but if there's no peace in the country, then you are nothing. So you can't appreciate that. You are there on the radio, peacefully come out there. You don't appreciate all that? Really? What you are looking for? You are talking about minimum prices. You are talking about fuel. Let me tell you something maybe I've forgotten. When at your PF, when you were in the government, the minimum was 150, the floor price was 120. Okay? Today, the floor price is 280, the minimum is 280 something, 300. So who is working? Who is better than who? Yeah? And then the solutions are coming. We are working on those issues, what the stabilization of minimum. So people will go funding, there will be support coming from Minister of Agriculture, from this government, so people can have enough. When you have enough, automatically the minimum prices will go down. That's a thinking. Something, it's not something that you can tweet now. Even today, the government, they are doing something through ZNS. You understand? You can find the minimum at 135. People, they don't know. So information must be given. Okay? So really, let us be factual when you are coming there, so people can listen to what you are saying.
Thank you.
And then they know that you really mean well for this country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Voice of Lukulu there. Let me give you two more on 0955-221515. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Your name, sir, and where are you calling us from?
Thanks very much. This is Mr. Makondo.
Mr. Makondo.
Yes, I'm calling you from within Lusaka.
Great. Please go ahead.
In particular, let me tell that lawyer, because sometimes you can even wonder Let me tell that lawyer, I'm specifically calling you from Tendere East. Ujakulima flat ya mwisho, when you go down, I pick a stone, I throw it. Equal for poverty. There is nothing that you left here. You didn't even leave water. There are no roads here. So when you say so, you are insulting the people from Tendere East. I'm in Mansa. When I throw a stone, it is landing on FTJ Chiruba University. Mansa University. So ila university ngeko ili nishaba abufi abakumansa nabakainde chilema abantu nabeshiba. Now when you talk of lies and deceit, the lawyer sure so if reintroducing the new allowance at the University of Zambia bufi you are going to face the students at the University of Zambia as you are planning to come back, which will never even work. Retirees are being paid. The people that you made suffer are those who were on separation now for 3 months. They are getting their monies. And you've talked of saying, no, you see what, rigging. But lawyer, do you forget? Because for me, I know, for someone to qualify as a lawyer, history, you didn't pass your history. Because you said it clear and plain. Here, Mwaliba PF power. Mwaliba territory rigging Zambia 30 no matter one can do rigging 30 won't be. So the rest of my money rigging, because you know now you are trying to psych the people, preparing them for the defeat, the worst that you will suffer in 2026. Why do I say so? President Lungu has never grown the PF. Imama number is now 1.7. Do your calculation if you are a lawyer and tell me. You came 2015, the same numbers. And you are some in Yankura beyond. Now, as I conclude, you see what? Sometimes when you come, you should talk things. Talk about each other. What was the amount of a barrel in 2011 when you took over power on the international market? Tell us. How much is a barrel of fuel? That's the manufactured fuel in Zambia. We import. How much is it now per barrel on the international market? 2. Was the Ukraine-Russia war on? 3. You are telling us to say
your conclusion is too long, yes, sir. Your conclusion is too long. Thank you. Thank you. But thank you. I've got your point. I've got your point. Thank you very much. I thought he was concluding, but he kept listing down. Let me give you this message as I'm about to get another call. This one is from Doc Pius Jr., who says, good morning, Valoya. Are you aware that this alarming high cost of fuel prices are actually global issues? And of course, the high cost of living, the problem we are going through were brought by you, the PF, because of your overborrowing. This is Emmanuel Mwape from Chisamba. All right, and let me take one more call because I intended to get 3 calls. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm very fine. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Your name, sir, and where you're calling us from, and please turn off your radio volume, please.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah, good morning once again.
Yes, please. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Okay, this is Sylvester. I'm calling you from Mufulila.
Sylvester from Mufulila.
Yes.
Please, welcome. And how is Mufulila this morning?
Mufulila is quite cool, very hot in Salasana.
In Salasana, okay. Please go ahead, sir.
Okay. Good morning, lawyer.
Good morning, Mr. Sylvester. How are you, sir?
I'm very fine, sir. Yeah, to begin with, I'm some kind of disappointed to the way some people are coming out, especially that when you look at the situation, the way the situation stands as of now, you can even cry. To begin with, the PF, as we are speaking right now, left the price of minimum at 150 somewhere there. the price of fuel was 15 to 16 kwacha. They told the Zambian people to say, when we come in power, we won't actually even be buying fuel at this 16 kwacha. You'll be buying it at 10 kwacha or less, because they had all the solutions to, as in the reason why the PF were selling fuel at that much. They said they've got a lot of people that are in between, who they were termed as agents. So then when they come into power, they are going to remove all those people, and then they'll be selling fuel at 8 or less, 10 maybe, for example. Now, why is it difficult today to sell the price at that price? And then the other gentleman was saying, no, it's the PF will remove power this time around, the fuel in Ghana is kind of 50. Why? So it's a shame to see that the so-called praise singers, they want to praise Nigeria. These guys are very handy. You come to Copper Belt, let those people who are saying no, let them come to Copper Belt. But the moment they just enter Ndora, they will definitely see that things are not okay. I'm sure even when you just go to Chingola or to Mufulira, you just mention UPND. I don't think so even people will be laughing at you, will laugh at you, will laugh with you. They will just laugh at you. So let us face things the way they are. If you are not going to speak, if you are not going to preach about the hunger that you have as of now, the UPND will think everything is okay, and then they are not going to help the citizens of Zambia. Let us tell them to say, can you reduce the price of fuel? Can you reduce the price of meal? And that way we are going to go forward as their program of saying, moving forward. Now, as of now, we are not moving forward. We are just going backwards to Kaunda Erazuko, where people are lining up for meal. People soon won't even managing going for work with cars. They'll be going with Mawuba, maybe Nanjinga. So that's the thing. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Sylvester. Now, quickly, obviously here the issue of fuel price has, the counter reaction is that, look, we are moving by what the international market is giving us, and there's very little that this government can probably do. But I have a question on my WhatsApp here. It says, "Good morning, studio. My worry is if the parties don't go to the convention as per ultimatum, what will happen to them?" This seems from Lusaka. Very important question.
Yeah, maybe I can actually just start with the question by from Sims.
Right.
Mr. Sims, the truth of the matter is that particular notice by the Registrar of Societies is unconstitutional. It is very unconstitutional, and it should be taken with the unconstitutionality that it deserves. We cannot take that serious. I mean, as a matter of fact, if these parties don't go for conventions, what does that mean? What does that mean? What punishments are they going to make on them? Are they going to deregister all of that? Does Zambia have money to even go for by-elections? Now, the question again is, why do we want to allow the democratic space to continue shrinking in that manner? And I don't think Zambians will allow that. And then I think from the other callers, Mr. Lukulu, Voice, Mr. Makondo, and Sylvester. Thank you very much, Sylvester from Mufulira. I think you and I, plus I think the moderator also, we stay in the same Zambia because we are all affected by the cost of living. Our colleagues appear to be staying in space, but we, of course, remind them that they told us and promised us things. We are only retaliating on the promises they made. Of course, it is extremely important for Zambians to be reminded of how government operates. And it's also important for the people of Zambia to be educated on how government is run. In less than 5 minutes, let me just go through it. You know, government is a continuous process. It's a wheel that continues to move. And as a matter of fact, we came up with plans, MDGs were made and all that. So the development of a country is phased, you know. MDGs or Millennium Development Goals are set by different times. For example, in 2000, there are MDGs that indicated that the growth of the population will be this much, and therefore we need to construct more things, more universities, more schools, and all. So it's a continuous process. All we do as politicians is to come in and ensure that we start implementing these MDGs. Now, here is the thing. In 2016, President Lungu assented to the Constitution of Zambia Act number 2. Now, that particular constitution provided for what we call devolution of power. Devolution of power entails that you are now giving power to the local authorities, unlike concentrating power to the central government. Now, what we did is we came up with a constitution that devolved power. In the process of devolving power, what happens is you need now to ensure that as you devolve power to the districts, you have the relevant government departments that are going to sit in those districts. Did we have that running to 2016? We did not have. But the PF came in to start ensuring that they start implementing the devolution of power process. One, by ensuring that we constructed district administration offices for all government departments in all the districts. Now, when you construct, there's only one other thing that remains, and that is what our colleagues need to understand in UPND, so that they should stop bragging and receiving accolades where they don't deserve. When you construct, now Mpangama School, you construct now Mpangama hospitals, the next phase from construction is the phase of employment or creating, placing human resource in those particular structures. Now, did the UPND come to implement the second phase of decentralization? Yes, they did. Have they employed those people that needed to occupy those empty hospitals, those empty schools? Yes, they employed them. The reason is because government is a continuous process. It is their right and duty to ensure that the process of devolution continues as enshrined in the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. Phase 3 is how much money was allocated to each constituency. In the process of devolution, we ensure that the power should wield with the districts or local authorities. So how much money was allocated? It was 1.6 million. Now, after we have devolved, we've got district administration blocks, we've got all these things constructed. What then do we need to do? We need to empower these local authorities. With what? Money. Whether you like it or not, CDF was going to be increased, as a matter of fact, because these things, the process of devolution entails that the local authorities should be empowered with the relevant monies. Only that our colleagues are not really following proper laid down procedures on how implementation of CDF ought to even be done. They do not understand. That is the reason why we still have MPs in Nkana complaining that the only amounts they've received is 7.2 million kwacha. In Kapoche, they're complaining that it's only 6.3 million kwacha from the 28 million. But as it stands, devolution entails that these things have to be done by government. So people need to know that there is nothing special with the UPND government today employing 4,000, is it 30,000 nurses? There is nothing special because the PF already constructed the hospitals where those people are supposed to be placed. The UPND was not going to employ anyone if we did not construct these particular structures. The Zambian people need to know that we cannot continue to be lied to in the fashion our colleagues have continued to lie to us. And of course, we'll continue indicating the development of this country is owned by the Zambian people, as a matter of fact. The PF was a conduit that was used by the Zambian people to come up with the development that we have today. Now, are we going to give them the accolades for ensuring that at least they delivered to the expectations of the Zambian people in terms of that infrastructure? The answer is yes. Why can't we? Why can't we? And then further to that, our colleagues also need to know that, especially the callers, we've been seeing on social media, the UPND callers have been complaining that they are not being taken care of. They can't even afford bags of millimil. My brother, my sister, let me tell you to say, we are all in the same boats. The kind of hypocrisy that someone would use on the radio, where they go and say, no, Vintu Vilimushe, no, that will not feed our families. I don't think even your neighbors will be able to lend you salt if you are going to mock them to the extent of saying Vintu Vilimushe when things are not okay. I think it's important for us to realize we are all facing the same hunger situation. We are all facing the same prices, high prices of commodity. And all we need to do in this country is to request our leadership to come and apologize and say, we did not know. Now we know. Kindly help us. And we've been guiding them. We've been providing alternative budgets. We've been providing alternatives to how we can improve the cost of living. But these colleagues, of course, they don't want to listen. In short, would say they are incorrigible. They are incorrigible. Yeah.
So let me give you one more message. Hi, Zach. I wish to encourage Celestine Mukandila, who is well informed and articulating issues very well. UPND is taking this country to the West levels. Dr. Kenneth Kaunda feared the capabilities of our current president, just like President Manawasa expressed similar sentiments about the current president, as can be seen. I wish to challenge MPs and the general public to refuse anyone who ascends to power using lies, as is the case currently. The MPs should actually pass a law that prosecutes people who lie to the nation under the pretext of wishing to take over power and embrace foreigners as at the expense of innocent Zambians. Celestine, let's work hand in hand with all opposition and save the Zambian people from the bad leadership being experienced currently. This is Mapulanga Kalungu from Chibombo. Thank you very much. Let me just give you another one. Good morning, comrades, lawyer. It's time for you to go to the convention and elect a leader and start marketing him. Otherwise, bringing Edgar Chagwalungu back, it's a waste of time. This is Henry K. Thank you very much, Henry K. There was a question on Facebook that was asking, rather on WhatsApp, that was asking about your political ambitions in 2026. Would you want to respond to that?
Well, in 3 minutes, I can say 2026 is yet another year that we shall go and try and serve my neighbors in Matero as area member of parliament. So we continue to learn every day. We believe we don't have monopoly over knowledge. We continue to learn every day, and we continue to assist the Zambian people in various ways and ensure that we tell them the truth, and also ensure that we guide them as to how the governance of this country should be. So maybe I should just run through quickly the other question that deals with the convention. I think people in Zambia by now should realize that PF, as a democratic party, we have on several occasions informed the Zambian people, because the Patriotic Front is a people's party, is a Zambian people's party. We've informed the Zambian people on several occasions on the steps we are taking towards attaining the convention. So the Zambian people may have to be reminded that we shall be going for an amendment, a constitution amendment convention or conference before the elective conference, because we need to amend our constitution to ensure that we are in line with the tenets of democracy, in line with the tenets of ensuring that we deliver to the expectations of the Zambian people. From there, of course, we need to also ensure that our structural audits, to audit the structures, the audits have to be completed before we can go to the convention to elect the next leader. I'm sure we were informed yesterday that on the 21st of this month, Central Committee will be sitting to discuss amongst other things, the issue of having the elective conference, which is the convention, as well as the constitution amendment conference. So I think it's important for us to realize that we are moving at a pace that the Zambian people expect us to move, because we are democratic. We do not want to defranchise anyone to the extent that their rights to vote are curtailed in any way. I mean, as a matter of fact, we've got those colleagues that were elected in these positions. You see, we are living by the principle enshrined in the Zambian constitution, where it provides for regular elections within political parties. Now we've got those colleagues who are, for example, elected in 2016, going to 2017, whose positions currently may have their terms of office may have expired. So the process of auditing the structures of the party also requires that intra-party elections should be conducted to ensure that those structures that do not have the substantive leadership also have the substantive leadership to enable them to come and vote and ensure they cast their vote for their preferred candidate for presidency in the Patriotic Front. I mean, currently we've got 10 contesting people, and these people have remained as such, and we are waiting. The Central Committee of the political party, which is PF today, is the decision-making body of the party. So every decision that is made for and on behalf of the party goes through the Central Committee. Now, there's a principle of good governance that is called collective responsibility. Whatever it entails that whatever is decided by a grouping charged with the responsibility of taking care of a particular thing decides, that is what should be followed. And in this case, we believe as a Patriotic Front that the principle of collective responsibility is one that we have respected and we shall continue to respect. If the party Central Committee decides that we're not having the convention tomorrow because of certain factors that they have told us, and so be it, we shall respect that, because we believe we are a party that respects authority. We also respect the rule of law. The rule of law. We respect constitutionalism. So in this case, the Central Committee shall guide the Zambian people, and the information shall be relayed to the Zambian people either through the authorized spokespersons for the party. That includes the president. In this case, we've got the vice president, the secretary general, or the chairperson for information and publicity. These are the authorized members who relay the position of the party. Any other person who wants to relay anything else, that will be their personal opinion. As a matter of fact, I think it's important that the Zambian people should also understand the dynamics that as a party we are moving at. We respect the law, we respect the rule of law, we respect our constitution, and we should respect the principles that govern institutions. Very, very important. And very soon, we shall be going for that convention, that the much talked about convention by the UPND. But we are not going to dance to the tune of the registrar of society who's trying to dictate the conduct of the internal organization of our party. No, we shall not do that. Madam Registrar, you may be wary that the Patriotic Front, being a political party, is equally constitutional. The Constitution provides for political parties. And by virtue whereof, your powers and authority are limited to the control of the conduct of political parties, not the administration of the political parties. And therefore, I think it's very important for us to realize that people should not abuse their authority. People should not abuse their authority. The Zambian people are seeing. And we've continued to remind the Zambian people to say the same courage we had in 2021 to wake up at 0403 after having convinced by the lies of our colleagues to go and vote out PF. I think that should be the same courage that the Zambian people should have to go and vote out UPND, as a matter of fact. And because our moral compass are telling us to say, I mean, we cannot live with lies. The leadership should be honest. And that is all the Zambian people are asking for. We are asking for honest leadership. The leadership that will respect and protect our rights, our freedoms of assembly, our freedoms of association. Our freedoms of assembly are not protected today. We've been trying to request to have rallies in this country for the longest time. Our colleagues who were preaching against gagging political parties have been stopping us from having rallies and giving excuses to say the police does not have enough manpower to police the event. And yet they provide bulldozers and military artillery to go and stop political parties from holding those rallies. How unfair can that be? That is why we've continued reminding the Zambian people to say, you see, once bitten, twice shy. We've gone through this route and it's never worked. We've introspected. We realized to say that doesn't work. Don't force a Zambian to do what they don't want to do. Let's respect them. Let us be respected, and let's respect the law as it is.
Mr. Mukandila, thank you very much for coming, and we hope that you will again accept our invitation should we seek your indulgence in some of the national issues, and I can only wish you all the best.
Thank you very much for having me here, Mr. Banda, and thank you very much to the listener. I really appreciate the fact that the Zambian people are listening, and thank you very much to everyone else. Like I indicated, our colleagues thought the Patriotic Front was an ordinary boat, but little did they know that it was actually a submarine, and it cannot capsize, not at this time. I think we are moving the direction that the Zambian people want. We are rebranding, and we are coming to ensure that the Zambian people are told the truth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And well, that's what we had for you. Our guest this morning on the Thursday edition of The Burning Issue was Celestine Mukandila, who is Lusaka Lawyer and Patriotic Front member. Thank you so much to all those that participated in this conversation and those that didn't, but obviously listened all the way through. I'd like to also thank partners in this particular production as well, and the airing of this particular program, partner radio stations, iWave FM, thank you, and Tuta FM, Muchinga Radio, Spice FM, Wave FM. Thank you very much, and we will be back next week at the same time with yet another edition of The Burning Issue. From us is take care of yourselves and more so of each other. Bye-bye.